The night was dark, but the screams were even darker. I remember the wailing of mothers, the desperate cries of fathers, and the terrified shrieks of children. Our village, once full of laughter and song, had become a place of sorrow and fear. Our king, Gaza, was once loved by all. But power had twisted him into a wicked man. He started to take our wives and lands forcefully. Anyone who resisted was met with a swift and brutal death. My own father was among them. It began when the king decided that he wanted the most beautiful women for himself. He sent his soldiers to every home, dragging women away from their families. My mother was taken while she was cooking dinner. She tried to fight back, but a soldier struck her down. I watched, helpless, as they carried her off. With the women gone, the men were left in despair. We gathered in secret, whispering about what to do. My father, a brave man, spoke up. "We cannot let this continue," he said. "We must stand together and fight." But the king's spies were everywhere. They heard our plans and reported back to him. The next day, the soldiers came for my father. They dragged him to the center of the village and made an example of him. The king himself was there, watching with cold eyes. "You think you can defy me?" King Gaza sneered. "This is what happens to those who oppose me." He gave a nod, and the soldiers struck my father down. I wanted to scream, to rush to his side, but my mother held me back. "Stay hidden," she whispered, her voice trembling. With the men too scared to resist, the king's greed grew. He began to seize our lands, claiming them for himself. Families were forced out of their homes, left to wander and starve. Our village, once thriving, became a place of despair. One night, as I lay awake, I heard whispers outside. I crept to the window and saw a group of men gathered. They were planning to flee to the forest to escape the king's tyranny. "We cannot stay here," one of them said. "We must find a new home, far from this evil." I knew then that I had to leave too. The next morning, I packed what little I could carry and slipped away. As I walked through the village for the last time, I saw the haunted faces of those left behind. They were too broken to fight, too scared to flee. The forest was dark and full of dangers, but it was our only hope. We traveled for days, always looking over our shoulders. Finally, we found a place where the king's reach could not extend. We built a new village, small but safe. We began to rebuild our lives. But the memories of what happened will never fade. The pain of losing our loved ones, the fear of the king's soldiers, the sorrow of leaving our home, it is all etched into our hearts. We tell our children the story, so they know what we escaped from, and why we must always cherish our freedom. And so, we live on, haunted by the past but hopeful for the future. The wicked king may have taken much from us, but he could not take our spirit. We survived, and will continue to survive, no matter what.